What's up? It's BG Labs. It's like part 3 of the Hacker House build, and we are in the midst of building a cool little forkable app where we can stream to a whole bunch of people out of one pool. And it's a little bit different than our BG streams, but it's definitely a derivative of the BG stream style with the withdraw pattern. Before we get into it, how you guys doing? Carlos, how are you? How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm doing okay.
Carlos is good. How about Edna? How are you feeling?
Yeah, good too. Back from Japan. I'm still in like Japan time zone in Turkey. So it's been, yes, I've been waking up pretty early, watching like some friends at 4 or 5 a.m. But yeah,
Nice.
it's been going good.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So let's see. I like the sushi the best in Tokyo. I don't know. The ramen was a lot. I feel like the ramen was almost bad for me. It was so like salty or something, but it was so
Really?
good.
It's
Like you
so
would go in.
opposite
Yeah.
for me.
You like the ramen better than the sushi?
Yeah, I love the ramens like everywhere. I love the food in general, but I think the ramen
Yeah.
was great because I like to be like full after a meal, and that was like,
Oh yeah.
okay, you're really
Yeah.
full after that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm getting
Yes.
I'm
And
getting
it
hungry
was like
now.
cool. Yes, you should. You should. Next conference. It might be in Barcelona. We'll be there. Lots of
Yeah,
tapas.
yeah.
I'm in. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's see. So I think we should dive in and just look at the old style and look at what we had built before and kind of pull that up, and I'll add that in. There we go. So here it is. We sort of have a Scaffold-eth 2 build that is a smart contract. Did you write the original? I think Carlos wrote the original contract. It lets you
Maybe, yeah.
set up, I mean, a lot of copying from the math of the withdraw pattern, right? Like that's what I always do. I was like, I know this block of code works and streams it at this rate, so I kind of copy that from contract to contract. But it allows streams flowing for a bunch of people and kind of this admin role where you can add and remove streams.
Yep.
Yep. And yeah, so and there they are. And we were like, okay, great. Let's put this thing out into the wild. And that's when we deployed kind of a different version. I think Carlos, you did a lot of the design work there too. We did this like cool rainbow dark mode thing. Do you have that second? Can I talk you
Yes.
into clicking that other tab? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say like it's been a while since we did like the last like BG labs. So and we needed this like for a like real case scenario where people waiting on us to have this. So we did like a bunch of stuff on camera, and this is like the new version. Like it has like a different UI and also like different data that is showing here, like the contributions and all of that stuff. So I think the goal for today will be like to show the difference between the both like this version and this version, and like the decisions that we took and why we did that, and and then maybe try talking about like forking this project for like other branches or other groups of people that might want to have like the same like stream functionality.
And basically the differences are mostly in the UI, right? It's not like there's a lot of smart contract differences here. Just we basically took the original UI, forked it, and made it a little goofy with like some cool hacker rainbows, right?
Yeah, I mean, we still have like some, like smart contract, not really a huge like difference, but some difference that we will see in a moment, and maybe we can explain the reason behind all of those like decisions.
Yeah, I think the goal here is just to show off, like, check it out, it's live. We have like actual BG grants flowing to people. This like idea of BG grants is like happening, and we're able to use build guild like streams to stream to a group of folks. We have what is there, like 6 ETH locked up in this contract, and a bunch of people have kind of already started, 5 ETH locked up now. They've already started withdrawing. We can see them kind of putting in their work there, and you can see the streams up above. I think that one of the surprises for us was when these folks are all really good developers. They're really good ETH developers. So when we're making an ETH site for them to withdraw ETH, it's interesting because they're going to come in with their own kind of point of view. And when they saw the smart contract, they thought there were two like major issues with it, right? The first major issue was it started full. As soon as we deploy the contract and throw money in, you have a full one or a full half ETH that you can withdraw from right away. And I think that they thought like that should build up. But I think one thing that we realized with the psychology of grants is we should kind of give the benefit of the doubt to the builder and just start it out full and say, here it is, you can withdraw at any time. And then the other psychological weird thing, what was it? It had to do with I can't even remember. What was it? Was it the streams?
I think it's just like
filling.
with
Missing
away,
out.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the stream pause, right? So the other weird thing about the streams is once they get full, they stop filling. They stop, the meter's not running anymore. It's basically paused at full. And that's great for us because we have people that work for multiple DAOs. We have very like part-time contributors. They come and bust out something awesome, they withdraw, and then they disappear for a while. And that's great. That's kind of how we want Build Guild to work. So in this case, it's the same thing where their stream fills and then it pauses and they're technically missing out, right? But you might be going and doing something else. Within Build Guild, that's all locked up for you. But here you're actually sharing the pool. And it's a little bit more interesting because while your stream is paused, maybe someone else's isn't, and they're pulling from the same pool that you would eventually pull from. So little bit different psychology there, but worth talking through. But I think we want it to work this way. But let me leave it open to there. I know that Eda, you've studied a lot of like the psychology of the Build Guild streams too.
Yeah, one thing I want to mention is I mean, you did mention that, but this is like more for the hacker houses, like so everyone like it's all locked in a single contract. But we also have like a similar stream methods in the Build Guild, so they're kind of like different from each other, right? So like when you join the Build Guild, you can also like get a different stream. So just want to mention that there are two different like places because I feel like sometimes it can get mixed up. And we do have like I think it's still complicated for people to come in and like kind of value their work and withdraw. But it's more, you kind of get used to it and continue to withdraw from your stream. And you could find like some resources on the Build Guild website around like how people are like valuing like placing like monetary value on their work. So I think that's kind of like a good place to look at. And we do have like some resources which you can read into. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, you can still get a stream, like and the stream you would get is not the one from this hacker house, but from Build Guild.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
So
like let's see.
Line,
I think it's
like,
go.
No, I was
you
going
go.
to say that like the bottom line is like paying yourself is hard. When you have to pay yourself, like that's still hard for everyone. I think. I don't know.
I think that what we're finding with these hacker houses or with Build Guild streams, there almost needs to be a human to human connection, and there needs to be a human there. In this case, it's probably Jesse. Jesse's probably reaching out to some of these folks and being like, I know it's hard to withdraw. You have to price your own worth. It's so hard. Like do something that you think is valuable, turn it into the stream and make it worth your while by withdrawing some ETH. That's the best I could say, but it's always hard at that moment when you're trying to price it or trying to, because there's social pressure, because there's other people that are going to see that you withdrew this thing for this amount, and it's kind of public on the page along with like the call out of what we should be working on. And so it's tough. It's definitely
tricky.
Yep. That's the hardest part about working with smart contracts is the human layer. Let's put the human layer aside and let's dig into the technical layer. If you want to take it away, Carlos.
That is the easy part, going to technical parts. That for me, humans are complicated. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's check real quick the code that we have for the front end on the old version. So maybe here we can see like some issue like right away on line number 9. So we have the addresses of the builders hard-coded here on the code, which I mean,
and I
think
take responsibility for that. That was not a good move. Like we got it. It was a quick move to get somebody to display first. I'll take responsibility.
So basically on the smart contract, we had, this mapping where we store the address of each builder with the builder stream information. And we just like querying each specific like individual builder from this address from these addresses, from this array. So it's not like the best solution. And then, whenever someone add a new builder into a contract, we will have to come here, like add a new address. And that's like, that's not the best approach. So maybe we should talk about like alternatives, right? Like which alternatives or what can we do to make like this like better? So I don't know, one thing that we could do is like adding this to the smart contract, right? Like maybe having like that could be expensive, but adding that into a mapping, for example, or an array of builders. Like every time that you add a builder, you could have like an array of builders, but that's going to be also expensive. Maybe it's not like the best idea to have, like all the builders addresses on chain just for this. So I think the second option is using events, right? I think events is like like a cheaper option of like storage, right? Like it's not stored in the same way, but you can still like access to the events. So here, and as you can see here, we have like some like to do hinting here, like maybe we need to add like an event here. So you can just like emit a new event, and whenever you want to fetch like the builders, you can just like fetch for that specific, like add builder event. So you will have the list like kind of like on chain, right?
And just kind of going through it, like there's this whole admin pattern where the admin can add a new builder to the stream, and it would be great if Jesse could be the admin of that. But if they're hard coded into the front end, even if she adds a new builder to the stream, I've got to get in and edit the code and add a new builder to the array and push the front end up to Vercel every time we make that change, right? So it works great for like, okay, quick, we've got something up right now and we can start announcing that we have this, like these grants flowing. But then it's like, okay, but as we want to add new people and upgrade and make this thing more malleable and forkable, a hard-coded address list at the top isn't going to work best. Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have a choice, right? Like maybe if this contract was like already deployed, then maybe this is the only way that you can tackle the contract, right? But in this case, the contract was only like deployed like locally. So we have the advantage that we could like tweak whatever we want. Okay, so the next thing that is not really, whenever we were like coding this the other day, and it was like a bit messy, like creating like these like multiple reads, because we have, like these mappings, which is builder with the builder stream info. And then, if we want to get like all the information to just to have like the index page with all the builders, we have to individually query like all the unlocked builder amount for each builder. So that got us to make like all these like weird, like multiple read, which is not very, friendly. So one solution that I can think of for this is having like a function here on the contract that is like a multiple read function that you call it, and you get back like all the information. You get like all the unlocked amount for each builder. So you only need to make like one call to the contract. And the downside of that is that it's going to be a bit more expensive but only when you deploy, right? Because it's like a read function. So you are going to pay some like extra gas when you deploy, but then when it's deployed, right? So you just can call the function for free, right?
To me, this is like a great like showing of why Scaffold-eth is powerful in the mode of being able to make some changes to your contract, see how it all looks and works in the front end, make some more changes to your contract. If we were just building a protocol and we were just so focused on the contracts, not playing with it, not using it in the front end, not experiencing it and trying to see like, how do we list all this stuff, and realizing it's really hard to list, and not being able to go back to the contract and add these extra read functions. I feel like the contracts that have developers so hyper focused on the contract and forgetting about the front end and not having a time to just try it out, they lose out on that, and they kind of get tunnel vision. So I think that like this is a real power of Scaffold-eth 2 is we get to experience the contract and be like, oh wait, like it's totally worth it to spend a little bit of extra money on the deploy to have some of these extra view functions that make our life way easier on the front end as we're building out apps.
Yeah. And of course, it depends on the use case that you have, right? And sometimes, it's not better or worse, like depending on the use case or what you like optimizing for. because it's not the same like optimizing for the front-end developer that is going to interact with your contract, or maybe optimizing for for gas, like saving gas on your contract. So I guess it's like a balance. It's not like a good answer or a right answer. So I think you just like need to experiment and and choose whatever is like best for you. So what if because we implemented some of these changes that we were talking about. So what if I paste this, like the new changes from the new contract? I can just like take the contract, like the new and paste it here. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
see
like a
here
diff, maybe. Yeah.
on the left side, we can see like some, like changes that we made, right? So in this case, I think we just like did like 300 seconds because we wanted to test like quickly. But in this case, in the real scenario, we want like to be like 30 days. Then we added like these two events. We're talking about events. So whenever we add like a new builder, we are just like emitting like a new add builder event that we are going to be able to fetch from our indexer, front end, the graph, or whatever, right? And then what else? Oh, so this is like the multiple read function that we were talking about. So this is basically creating like this struct, and it's just like creating this array with all the builders and their unlocked amount. So you only need to call this function with all the builders that you want to get like the information, and it will return this array with all the info that you need. So in the front end, it's going to be super easy, right? You are going to call this function, and you just like iterate over this array, and you have the builder address, the cap, and the unlocked amount, which is basically what we have, on the front end, right? Basically this data. So we will have the address, the cap, and the unlocked amount. So that's like perfect for us. And then what else? Oh yeah, I think we also added like this add batch function. It's just basically to save like some transaction. You only need to make like one transaction, and it takes like an array of builders, an array of caps. So it's just basically do a loop and call
When gas is at
like,
80 Gwei and you've added one at a time 3 builders, and you're like, shoot, I have to add 4 more builders. This is going to cost me $200. Dang it. Yes, a batch function is going to make it so much nicer.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
And then no, it's fine. And then this one, right? Like, this can be a little bit like controversial for some people, right? Because what we are doing here, we are like update builder string cap, and only the owner can call this. So you are saying, okay, so you can update, and you can like set it to 0 if you want, right? Like put it to 0, which would be the same thing as like removing a builder. So this is giving the power to the admin of this contract to add and remove people at their wish. So that might be this is the rules of the game that we are doing for this, but it's interesting. Yeah, what do you think?
It's when we send money to a Build Guild builder stream, it's technically their money as soon as it lands there, because the only way it can leave is if their address withdraws it. But here, it's a little more mutable, and that's a little bit more scary. But like great contract patterns, like basically if you have a good smart contract set up that has an ownership pattern, at first it's very scary because that could be an EOA. But that EOA, that externally owned account, can always delegate that ownership, give that ownership up to something more like a multi-sig. And then that gets a little bit farther decentralized. But then if that could give the power, if the multi-sig could eventually give power up to a DAO. And so maybe everybody who participates in this, as they withdraw from it, they earn some kind of voting token. And then over time, there could be proposals that come up that say, should we remove this builder? Should we increase this builder's stream? And the builders themselves could vote. Or maybe it's when you YOLO money in to support the streams, you get a voting token and you use that token to vote. So right now I say, it's scary that it's so mutable, but we're moving fast and loose, and we're trying to get high leverage builders some funding and streaming. So let's do it how we gotta, like, however we gotta make it work. And I think that in a very mutable way, that's fine for now. But eventually, I think we want to back that ownership off, or maybe say the owner could add people, but if you're going to remove people, it takes a vote from a bunch of people or something. Something where if it ever goes in the negative direction, it's harder to do or something.
Like in any case, the good thing about this is like, these are the rules of the game, but the rules of the game are public. So you can just go here and you can like it or not, but you can see it, and that doesn't happen sometimes, in the world, in some system economic system that we have, doesn't happen. But in this case, you can like it or not, but it's public, so you can just decide to participate and you can like see what the rules are like pretty clear. So I think that's like amazing about like Ethereum, like smart contracts and and this stuff.
One mechanic could be like a rage quit mechanic where 10 supporters could get together to support this set of streams that has a goal to get some certain thing done. And then 1 or 2 of the supporters along the way, watching how things have gone, how people have withdrawn from their stream, they could even rage quit with their liquidity and take some of it away from the stream and leave it still there. And that's a common like new pattern in DAOs is if I'm going to put in a bunch of money, I'd like to see that it continues to move in the direction that I wanted it to go, or if not, I can get out. And that safety of being able to get out is like a psychological, like changes the whole game. So I think that yes, the way we build these games is going to be super important, and it's all about just funding these developers and getting the grant funding streaming going. Cool. Let's see. Oh yeah, you want to? Oh yeah, keep going with the code if there's more changes there.
Yeah, like I think like the smart contract side is already covered. I think we already saw all the changes. So maybe we can take a like real quick look into the code in the front end. So we can see now that to get like all the builders data, you only need to call one function. You only need to do like a contract read with all the builders data function, and then you pass the array of all the builders. And as you can see here, there is no builder list here anymore hard-coded. We are getting this list from using like the scaffold event history hook. We are getting like all the add builder events, and just like setting that builder list with the response of that call. So this is going to be dynamic, right? Whenever you add like a new builder, like a new add builder event is going to be emitted, and this will read it and it will pass it into this function, and it will get the data for every builder. Also here we have like the like the withdraw event, so we can like list like the activity from all the builders. And yeah, that's it. Like the other part is like kind of the same, like maybe like some fancy stuff, some fancy tailwind classes to make it look the way it is looking now with all the rainbow and fancy stuff. And yeah, I think that is, I think we covered like everything that we changed. Maybe do you want to comment something on this like from block variable that we have here? Yeah. And then maybe because I don't know if this is going to be like a super scalable, maybe we can talk about other alternatives to read events from the smart contract, because here we are doing like the straight but hard way, just like querying directly. So yeah, I don't know, maybe we have like some other option that we can explore in the future, that having an indexer or using the graph or things like that.
Yeah. I'm going to steal the screen away too and just show, I think, here where you have it in the README also. But this start block, let's see, where is it? This start block really is something. Oh, wait, maybe I'm not on the right one. Maybe I'm on the
maybe do you want to make the screen a bit bigger?
Or yeah, that probably do that too. Let's see.
I think it should be in a main. Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah. Okay. So you have this noted also. Like if someone comes along and they want to fork this, you want to follow these instructions. But this next block is interesting because it's an efficiency play. I think you talk about it. It optimizes the reading of events. Basically, as we're reading events, we're reading from block 0 using ethers. And if you read from the deploy block, you only have to read through, a much smaller chunk of blocks to get your events. But I think what you're hinting at is maybe we even, as this gets, longer to load, if we go to Hacker House and we see how long this loads, over the course of a year, if lots and lots and lots of withdrawals happen and lots of blocks stack up, I think that time is going to take longer and longer and longer. And so I could see how even we had the quick and dirty where we just like hard coded it. Then we had the let's read the events and let's get them listed. I think there's even another layer of let's either have like an indexer that's watching all of these and just providing us the front end, or a subgraph. I think you mentioned too, right? You could have the graph be watching for your events, and then you could query a subgraph and it would, in a much quicker way, give you the list of these users. But then you have to have that kind of infra in the middle, right? You have to set up your subgraph and have it listen to the events.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. So kind of to close this out, I think I want to show basically I've already forked this 4 times. So we made a demo for the first BG Labs, right? We made that first thing that you showed, that first UI, and then we forked it into this Hacker House, and we went live and we put 5 ETH into it, and we have builders already withdrawing. But then if I go over to localhost here, I'm already starting to fork that. We're going to create 4 new cohorts. There's a ZK cryptography one, there's an infrastructure one, there's an autonomous worlds one, and there's one other one that I can't even remember. But maybe it's optimizers. I think it's security and optimizers. Basically 4 different new cohorts that will just be forks of this same build. We'll be able to YOLO in some ETH. And then if I go look at the deployer here, we'll see that I'm not even going to be the admin. We talked about how there's kind of a heavy-handed admin. In this case, with these 4 cohorts, I'm going to make Jessie the admin. She can add and remove people as she wants. And sort of eventually we'll even probably back that out to a multi-sig. But it's cool to be able to put one of these things in motion and then hand it off to her to be able to kind of run and add more people to. It's a great way for us to give small grants to up and coming high leverage developers in a kind of very low stress way that builds up this feedback loop that we like to see. So yeah, shout out for all the building here. This is going to be a wonderful tool when it gets out there and gets live. We did it. 3 episodes. If you want to build your own thing from scratch with Scaffold-eth 2, we basically covered it in the last 3 episodes here. But also it's probably forkable and probably much easier. You could just start with where we ended instead of start with where we began. Awesome. Any closing remarks? Got a thumbs up from Carlos.
Thumbs up from me too.
Awesome. Thumbs up from me too. Hearts. Thanks everybody for going along. Hopefully part 3 will be the end of the BG streams stuff, but maybe there will be more. Maybe we'll add more and we'll have to have a part 4. Who knows? But this has been part 3. Thank you all for going along. Go fork the version of the Hacker Houses. Go use Scaffold-eth 2 to build something cool. Go speed run Ethereum and learn how to build things. And I think that's it. Happy Wednesday. Thank you all.
See you.
Bye, everyone.